Hey guys, and welcome back to Blaze TV, Ed Kimberley and Stu Coles, as always. And we've got a little bit of a double feature for you on today's edition. New signings, Nate Halbert and Dane Gibson. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. And hey, welcome to Coventry.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
I always say welcome to Coventry. We are, of course, filming this on the old Zoom call in anticipation of the guys getting here. And in a little bit of a change of format, Stu, you know what? I always kick these things off and I always ask the first couple of questions. So I'm going to give you that honor today, buddy, if that's okay.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The time is an interesting thing because we are recording it before the guys have travelled over, and we are in 3 separate time zones. So we've had to coordinate a little bit to get everyone all in at the right time. I guess start off with Dane actually, because we kind of got a little bit of a defensive special today, but fans who have looked you up, found you on various websites, will have noticed that you're listed as a forward pretty much everywhere. But yeah, you've been signed. Danny's brought you in as a defenceman. You want to play defense. How did that change happen? When did you stop being a forward and start being a defenseman?
So that would have been my 3rd year of university there that I kind of made the switch. Just kind of happened in like a preseason game where we were down a D-man, and then I played that game and then just kind of stuck. There was a few games past that I played kind of back and forth, but yeah, after that kind of first year there, I kind of stuck back as a D-man. So yeah.
Happy with the change, never looking back?
Of course, yeah, it's been good. I like it for sure.
A lot less.
And Nate, you'll have fans will have obviously looked you up as well, and they'll have come across a little bit of line in your bio that says that you're actually born over here.
I was, yep.
How much of a connection do you still have back to the country? Have you still got sort of family in the area, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so I was born in Nottingham, so most of my extended family is still there. And then we got my dad's side's from Glasgow, so got family up there as well. So as a kid, we'd often come over each year and kind of visit family and stuff like that. So I've definitely got some ties to, Britain and the local areas and stuff.
Nottingham and Glasgow ticking off a couple of rivals in the league at the same time as well. So it'd be good to see the family, no doubt, at some of those games.
Yeah, it'll be a little extra motivation, I guess, those nights.
That's cool. So we'll have gone from, because I think Dane was saying just before we hit record that it's you'll be your first time in Europe, and Nate, you've been here a couple of times back and forward. So Dane, I guess you must be really looking forward to getting your first taste of not only Europe but pro hockey as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, never been to Europe. Hadn't really planned on it just due to hockey, and yeah, this opportunity came about. So super excited, and of course to get going here in a few weeks.
Because you've had quite an interesting career up to date. You played Junior A in the BCHL, which we've had a couple of guys on who played in the USHL. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but how those leagues are kind of developing is kind of similar, right? They're always a little bit of a step behind traditionally, like the Ontario League, etc. But they're really coming along, aren't they? What was your experience like there?
Yeah, so I played basically Junior B in my hometown, which would be a league under, and then made the switch my 18-year-old year, played in Cowichan, which is about 45 minutes from Victoria. And then my 20-year-old year, I got traded and was able to get a scholarship to UMaine, and then did 2 years there, and then transferred over to Calgary at the league's called U Sports now. So
yeah,
sure. It was good. The hockey is good. Yeah, the USHL is a little bit, you could say, a little bit more advanced than the BCHL. But yeah, just different routes compared to like college hockey, NCAA, that sort of thing, with dealing with like the WHL, the OHL, and the Q as well.
Yeah. Stu mentioned in there obviously the switch to playing as a defenseman, but you had some great success in that league as a forward. I think it was you led the league in assists, and was it your senior year there? You were 3rd overall in points. That's a heck of a haul. That was a successful year for you there.
Yeah, it was awesome. Got to live in my hometown and live with my family, and yeah, it was really good. No complaints. Obviously, it was probably 6 years ago now, so quite some time, but yeah, it was awesome, to be honest. Nothing but good things to say about living in Victoria and on the island, kind of from here. So been here for a long time.
Yeah, beautiful part of the world. We've got some extended family that live out there, so it's a heck of a place to not only grow up but play some hockey. And I know that Stu, because he's an academic, you see, he'll want to chew your ear off about youth sports in the NCAA. So Nate,
yeah.
I'll stick to junior hockey because you traveled around a little bit, didn't you? You played junior A in Ontario, and then you moved to play in the Q. How did that come about?
Well, growing up in Ontario, everyone wants to play in the OHL. It's the dream or whatever like that. So once I got passed over in my minor midget year in the draft, my dad's big on academics in school, so he kind of, brought around the idea of going NCAA. So that kind of became, the next goal. And to play that, you got to play junior A in Ontario first. So that was kind of the natural step that I did. And then I kind of got lured out to Quebec by a coach. Just said, come out for a skate, try out, see you do. And so kind of making that decision whether I kind of wanted to play in Quebec or keep going to NCAA was a big one. And obviously I decided to go in Quebec. And, I spent 3 phenomenal years, under some great coaches and, elevating my hockey game to, levels I probably didn't think that I'd be at.
Yeah, you spent a lot of time with the Armada and then with Sherbrooke as well. Those are 2 really good organizations in the Q, aren't they? They've been around a while. They play some good hockey. Yeah,
the Armadas, they're known for kind of not having the best team on paper and then every year kind of being at the top of the standings. So I think it's part of the, the identity of the organization and the coach there. And well, he's not the coach there now, but just what the guys he finds and pulls in, everyone kind of works hard, and we're always known as one of the worst teams to play against because we just always go and never stop. So it's probably one of the reasons why they always do well.
There's something I think threw down there to Dane about how the BCHL is kind of developing through, but the Q's been doing that recently as well. I think maybe, you go back 8-9 years, it was kind of known as the run and gun of the 3 big junior leagues. But like you said there, that the style of hockey is slowly changing, isn't it? Did you find that when you were there?
Yeah. I'd often, being a kid from Ontario, not French, I'd always say that, Ontario's better at hockey. And then they'd always pull the fact that, the Q keeps winning the Memorial Cup or doing well in it and stuff like that. So, but they're definitely, I think you're right. The style is changing a bit, and they're kind of producing some top end players and some really good teams. And they are, playing a little more of a 200-foot game as opposed to that kind of run and gun skill game that they used to maybe be known for a little bit.
Go on, Stu, talk about college. Go for it, man.
Yeah. So Nate, you said you were thinking of going down the sort of like the NCAA route, and obviously that kind of precludes playing in sort of major junior, but you ended up going to college anyway. You went in U Sports in McGill. How did you sort of end up there after the time in the Q?
Well, like I said, my parents, especially my dad's big on academics, and when you play in the Q, you get kind of scholarship money, and it's kind of a hazy way they sort it all out, but you have a certain amount of time to use it essentially. So my dad said, go get your degree, with a scholarship money, then you can go kind of do your pro thing and you'll have a degree in your back pocket. So that was kind of it, but I was still hesitant. I was thinking pro, maybe school. And I remember some kind of analyst or something like that from Quebec tweeted that I was going to McGill. And I was kind of like, all right, well, I guess it's out there that I'm going to McGill. I didn't even really have the decision made in my head, but I guess he caught wind that I was thinking of it. So that kind of said, well, everyone thinks I'm going to McGill, I may as well kind of go out there. So
how does that sort of story leak out that you're thinking of going to McGill? Did they spot you in the grounds one afternoon when you were having a look, or?
I don't know. Maybe McGill kind of leaked out. I don't know that I was thinking of signing, but I hadn't signed or firmly committed. And I saw the tweet and was like, well, I guess there's the decision made for me. So.
And Dane, you ended up in college as well. You started NCAA, so you played in Maine for a couple of years. Was it that year in Victoria? Did that sort of help secure sort of scholarship? That sort of final year where you had a really good point scoring season?
Yeah, exactly. My 19-year-old year, I talked to a few teams, but nothing was really promising. And then my 20-year-old year, I was able to get some offers, and just chose Maine and Hockey East knew it was a good conference and whatnot. So that's how it worked out, kind of.
And then transferring back to U Sports after a couple of years in Maine, what was the sort of the motivation behind that decision?
Honestly, just a little bit closer to home. I have family in Calgary. A friend of mine that went to Calgary as well to play for the team. Had conversations with him. You know, it was kind of last minute. I was originally going to try and go to, I believe it was Guelph, or maybe even St. FX. I can't remember, but honestly, just called the coach and kind of explained that I wanted to go here, and just was able to have a decent resume and good conversations with past coaches, and was able to kind of hop on a plane and go with like 2 weeks prior to school starting, and kind of just worked out that way.
And what's the, you know, sort of what's the experience like of being sort of like a college athlete? Like you're trying to balance studies and playing, you know, obviously there's ideas of going pro later on. So, you know, how do you sort of weigh that all up?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I originally was in Maine, right? So was planning to just do my 4 years business degree. When I made the switch, I knew I had that extra 5th year. So my mindset was always kind of play hockey and balance both. Obviously, it's a roller coaster of knowing kind of if you want to play pro or, you know, between that and school and stuff. But I think switching back to University of Calgary, the academics were a lot harder for me. So really just tried to bear down and focus on kind of the degree I wanted to go towards. And I mean, the balance is good. You're kind of traveling every second week, mostly in Alberta, a bit of like BC, Winnipeg, that kind of thing. But the longer trips you're flying. So I mean, with school, like most teachers are good when you're talking to them and whatnot. And then your coach has a great relationship with the teachers as well that can help out with, you know, a deferred test, that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, the balance was great. I was used to it kind of transferring over from Maine and stuff. So in terms of fans though, like we didn't get a lot of fans in Calgary, just because all those big sports teams there, like the Flames, the football team, that kind of thing, the CFL. But yeah.
And Nate, Dane's already answered my next question. So I was going to ask what you studied. Dane was obviously in business. What was your degree, Nate?
Yeah, I was in economics and finance.
One of these days, we're going to have an engineer or a materials guy on, and then we'll be able to talk a bit more, but not today.
Look, I think everybody's excited about getting fans back in the building. And Nate, you played in Laval for a little bit, didn't you, in the American League? And I know from speaking to David Brohl, he played there a little bit, and he really, really enjoyed his time there. What did you make of the experience? It must have been a little crazy turning pro when the pandemic was in full swing, right?
Yeah, I finished at McGill. We got knocked out of playoffs on the Sunday, and then the Tuesday morning I'd gone to class and was taking a nap, and my phone kind of blew up, and it was them asking me to come play that night because the guy had gotten sick.
Wow.
So that was kind of how I got called. So it was before the pandemic hit. So I had about, I think it was maybe a little over a month kind of with the team pre-pandemic. You know, so that was kind of full, like we had full stadiums, you know, 10,000 people, some of those games. And we had a fan, or we had like the player all-star game, and all the they took the glass off the rink. So like you're high-fiving fans and stuff like that. And then,
Wow.
you know, 2 weeks later, everything shut down and stuff. So it was kind of funny to go to that. And then this year, obviously we were based out of where the Canadians play. And so, you know, you're in the biggest hockey rink in the world kind of thing. But just no fans, and, you know, it's kind of eerily quiet in there. So it was kind of funny to compare the two, you know, almost completely different, like felt like you're completely different leagues and styles and stuff like that. But it was definitely interesting.
For sure. I mean, we're really hoping that it's going to be a little bit more normal in the Sky Dome. I mean, I'm used to it being empty for the last 18 months or so. Dane, your first full pro season's just around the corner. I mean, you must be really looking forward to get going here.
100%, yeah. Didn't play last year, so just ended up taking a job. Was originally going to try and go to the ECHL, but obviously COVID kind of put a halt to that. And yeah, so I'm really wickedly excited. It's been a while since I played a game, so I'm definitely excited to get in the corners and whatnot.
Have you kind of got it in your head what to expect that's going to be a little bit different from youth sports to pro?
I'm sure it's just going to be a lot, faster, more competitive hockey. I know we're playing with men who are a lot older, and with college, it's more that, like, what is it, 21 to 26. You don't really see the 30 and above aged players. So I mean, I don't really know what to expect going into it. I just know it's going to be fast, good hockey.
Have you played with anyone that's been in the league before? I know some of the University of Calgary guys have come through various elite league teams. I think Guildford had about 8 at one point.
Yeah, I actually played with Dryden Dow, who played Dundee 2 years ago. He's a really good player, great guy too. And then I grew up in the same place as Hammy from last year. Yeah, so play like ball hockey with him some summers, and then just summer ice, kind of train with him on the ice there. So
stay in touch, because he's just been playing in Great Britain for the World Championships. That must have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. I message him here and there. We have some combos. So yeah, I mean, he's told me a bit about Coventry, good place to play and whatnot. So I'm definitely excited to get over there.
So Nate, obviously you mentioned this earlier, and I kind of picked up on it. I thought I'm going to store that for in a minute. Having that connection to Nottingham, having your folks go to the Panthers game and whatever. Did you always have the Elite League as a destination in your pro career, just kind of sitting in the back of your mind somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely been there, especially since I was born there, and I had the passport, so I have the eligibility to kind of play for the British national team if I play a couple seasons, whatever the rules are. So it's definitely a cool opportunity to go, especially go play in front of family and friends, and somewhere that, like, I'm native to. I was born there. It's part of my parents' culture and heritage. So it'd definitely be kind of a cool thing to do something I love, in a place that has like a big part of my family's identity.
So, I mean, tough question. I'm going to put you on the spot here, because obviously you got the connection to Glasgow, you got the connection to Nottingham. Why did you choose Coventry in the end?
I liked what Danny had to say. It's a team that did well in pre-COVID. I think I kind of, I want to win. I don't want to be in a team that's losing every night. So the combination of a good team, yet with a big role for me that I can play in and help the team win and get better. And yeah, I don't know, just kind of seemed like a good fit for me. That's why.
Yeah, fair play. Obviously, you're both defensemen, but Nate, how would you describe yourself as a player? Because I mean, the defensive role, like when I first watching hockey, you had the big old dudes that would clear the net front. You had the little skilled guys that would be protected by the big dudes and move the puck up the ice. But now it's changed a lot, hasn't it, that position? So how would you describe your game?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would side with the more defensive, old school approach. Take care of your zone, PK, making good first passes. That being said, though, I do love to join the rush and get out the ice. So I'm excited for the bigger ice over there, and the ability to skate with the puck a little more. And I changed my number as well to 74 to try and get the old offensive instincts kicking in. Get away from the lower defensive defenseman numbers. So hopefully that'll be the reason I maybe put up a little more points this year.
Retiring the number 2 jersey, ain't going to use that. No, I feel you. I understand. So Dane, I mean, I'm going to make a big assumption here, having gone from being a forward. Would that mean that you're more of an offensive inclined defenseman, or am I wrong?
I mean, yeah, I definitely like to join the rush and whatnot. Still obviously working on the defensive side of things, but I'm definitely used to the size of the rink, just because U Sports was Olympic. So yeah, I'd say I like to shoot. I like to join the rush, try and play heavy when I can, but definitely still learning every day, and excited to learn from Danny and the other coaches and players.
Cool. Also, I got to ask, why did you choose Coventry in the end as your destination for the year?
Honestly, I wanted to travel to Europe. I wanted to play on like Nate, a good team that's competing every night and playing for each other and whatnot. The kind of option for me was this, or go to the ECHL, and obviously hearing about this opportunity just made me really excited, and kind of a no-brainer, if that makes sense.
Nate, you've obviously mentioned that sort of like, you know, playing for Great Britain is something that you've thought about at least, and obviously having the passport has kind of directed you in that way. Have you been keeping track of Team GB at the World Championships? Have you been sort of looking at their sort of progression over the past few years?
Not even the past few years, but definitely this year I know they're at the World Championships, and I don't know when the last time was before that they were there, but you know, it was something that when I was thinking of coming over, just a couple coaches were kind of saying like, oh, like, you know, we're like Team Great Britain's definitely on the rise. The hockey's getting better, and they're kind of talking about how they qualified for World Championships and how they've re-qualified for next year's, I think, already. And so as far as I am concerned, it's, you know, it's moving in the right direction, and kind of yeah, it's pretty cool to kind of see, you know, Great Britain, you know, obviously known for other sports, but kind of being on the world stage in hockey and stuff like that. And I think they did, you know, I think they held a couple, you know, of the top teams to good games, and they certainly put like a respectable showing on. So.
Yep. Did you have anything else you wanted to put to the guys, Stu? Because in my little notepad here, I'm all out.
No, we have discussed everything. I think the only thing that is left certainly from my end is I hope you guys stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you over in Coventry in not too long now.
Thank you so much for having us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, looking forward to getting things going, and you know, September can't come fast enough in my books.
Oh man, you're speaking our language. I know we were a little lucky in having the mini series to do, but Stu is fed up of me WhatsApping him every day about hockey. I think he just wants to get up in the commentary booth together. But no, guys, thanks for putting some time aside to do this. I know we're in 3 different time zones here, so really appreciate, you know, being able to, you know, be at all different times of the day. We're really looking forward to seeing you guys soon. And guys at home, signings thick and fast. I'm sure that the Craig and the media guys have got some more fun stuff up their sleeves for the remaining announcements. So from Stu, Ed, and from Nate and Dane, thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. Stay safe. Take care.